woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. Obviously, you've got to get that striking time better if I'm fighting El Chirizo. That's a lot what I'm going to work on, but my grappling always feels phenomenal. I just see in them rounds.
Он не зарабатывает те деньги, что можно лететь джетом с Америки в Европу или в Грузию. Потому что, условно говоря, если он заработал 2-3 миллиона долларов, только у него джет обойдется туда-сюда $500,000, да, $400,000.
Arman Tsarukyan has poured cold water. Ilia vs. Crawford boxing match have been revealed. Topuria is going to defend his belt against Paddy Pimblett next. In a recent interview, Arman Tsarukyan believes Ilia Topuria is more likely to face Paddy Pimblett than Justin Gaethje. He argues that Gaethje won't accept the fight, while Topuria has bigger incentives elsewhere. Tsarukyan explains that if Islam Makhachev wins the welterweight title, Topuria would prefer chasing a historic third belt and the financial rewards that come with it rather than risking a fight against him.
Каким ты видишь путь Топурии в дальнейшем? То есть вот сейчас Гейджи, возможно, ему дадут под конец года.
Нет, Гейджи не будет драться с Топурией.
Это инсайт или это просто...
Нет, это мое мнение. А UFC может делать все, что хочет. UFC может поставить даже с дебютантом Топури. Но я думаю, что, скорее всего, это будет больше Пимля даже, чем Гейдж. Вот. Я думаю, он защитит титул. Если Ислам выиграет титул, он перейдет на 7-7 и захочет стать тройным чемпионом.
С тобой боя?
Не, со мной боя он не захочет, так как с Исламом он больше может заработать, и риск, что он станет тройным чемпионом первый раз в истории и заработает большие деньги. И если даже он проиграет Исламу, ну типа поднялся в 7-7, сейчас обратно спускает свой вес. У него есть отговорка, если он проиграет, что он поднялся на 2 весовые категории выше.
On the other hand, Paddy Pimblett is also ready for this matchup and feels confident about his development, stressing that he is refining his striking with Ilia Topuria as the target. He points to timing on the feet as a major focus, but insists his grappling is still his strongest weapon, even likening his control on the ground to how Khamzat Chimaev dominated Dricus du Plessis.
5 rounds in the bag there. My striking time doesn't feel there at the minute, to be honest. Last week my striking time felt good, and I've done 5 rounds with Luke, so it's just probably woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. Obviously, I've got to get that striking time better if I'm fighting El Chirizo. That's a lot what I'm going to work on, but my grappling always feels phenomenal. I just see in them rounds, lad, when I get people on the floor, they don't get up, lad, smother people. Like Khamzat against DDP the weekend, once I get you down and I'm on top of you and I'm smothering them, you're not getting up, lad, I'm controlling you. I'm making you feel my weight and making you feel some shots at the same time. That's the thing, lad, when I get on top of someone, you're not getting up.
However, Ilia Topuria considers Paddy Pimblett as the easiest matchup at lightweight. He sees it as a straightforward chance to dominate from beginning to end and prove the clear gap in levels between them.
What is going on with Paddy?
With Paddy, all the fans around the world, I think that they want to see that fight. And at the same time, I have to be honest, I think it's one of the easiest fights that I could have in the lightweight division. I don't know, I can do with him whatever I want to do in reality. It's very excited fight for the fans.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna enjoy a lot the whole process, and at the same time it's a fight where I'm gonna be able to shine once again.
Meanwhile, Arman Tsarukyan accuses Ilia Topuria of pretending to be wealthier than he really is by showing off private jets. He claims Topuria doesn't make enough to afford regular trips on them, pointing out that even with earnings of a few million, a single round trip could cost nearly $500,000.
Топурия рассказывал, что сейчас вот он летает джетами за $200,000, ну то есть там из Испании в США, из США в Испанию, то есть он пересел как бы окончательно с бизнеса на частные самолеты. Можешь ли ты себе такое позволить и вообще, ну, как видишь ли ты в этом необходимость какую-то, то есть что-то, что тебе тоже хотелось бы, например?
Да нет, куда он летает? Я не думаю, что он летает с Америки на private джетах, так как после боя Оливера, он там летел обычным United куда-то. Его люди снимали в самолете. Я говорю, он пытается показаться, что он там нереально какой-то богатый. А на самом деле, как бы, я не думаю, что он не летает обычными самолетами. Ну, есть же видео, где он после боя с Оливерой сидит там со своей женой в обычном United, по-моему, компании, куда-то летит. Он не зарабатывает те деньги, чтобы можно лететь джетом с Америки в Европу или в Грузию. Потому что, условно говоря, если он заработал 2-3 миллиона долларов, только у него джет обойдется туда-сюда $500,000, да, $400,000.
Arman Tsarukyan explains that he must stay sharp in his upcoming grappling match against Benson Henderson in Moscow. The top lightweight contender stresses that he is treating the bout with full commitment, using it as a way to maintain focus during his layoff from UFC competition.
Вообще к схваткам таким, знаешь, многие относятся, ну так, Типа, чтобы себя занять, скажем так, да, пока без боев, пока время есть. Ты, я так понимаю, что все равно, да, серьезно подходишь?
Ну, конечно, у меня серьезный соперник, я не могу облажаться, если я проиграю, люди меня не поймут. Из-за этого нужно выйти и показать на все 100% и быть готовым, так как схваткой, по-моему, 10 минут без остановки это очень нелегко. Из-за этого профессионально отношусь, тренируюсь, прохожу сбор, слежу за питанием. В целом мне все нравится. А вот такие схватки проводить, так как пока боев нету, у тебя есть что-то перед тобой, и ты держишь дисциплину, начинаешь тренироваться, чуть по-другому относиться к своему телу. Все равно, когда у тебя ничего нету, ты где-то можешь что-то съесть, что-то где-то там чуть позже уснуть, потому что нету стартов. А когда у тебя есть старт, у тебя в голове мотивация.
So, Arman is looking very confident for the fight for the belt, but the current champ isn't interested to fight him. However, fans believe Ilia is ducking Arman and should give him a title shot as he's the #1 ranked lightweight contender. Khabib also agrees with the fans and even dismisses Ilia Toporia's chances against Arman Tsarukyan, saying Arman has developed into a complete fighter who can manage distance, control range, and use precise kicks to neutralize strikes. With greater experience and more tape to analyze, Tsarukyan has become far more dangerous. Khabib insists Toporia's approach doesn't match up well against a such versatile skill set and views Tsarukyan as the top lightweight in the division right now.
Давай предположим, что все случилось, Царукян с Топорией дерутся. Ты кого видишь фаворитом в этом бою?
Я не вижу шансов у Топори.
То есть ты считаешь, что
Я
Арман
ему
нападает,
ударки
да?
тоже не даю. Арман слишком дистанционно дерется. С ударниками держит дистанцию хорошо, ногами лучше работает. И сейчас уже Арман слишком хорошо. У него есть материал, который он может посмотреть и хорошо изучить. Если 3 боя назад, если он с ним дрался, может, он не так опасался. Но сейчас уже видно то, чего можно опасаться от Топори. Я считаю, что в данный момент лучший боец в легком весе это Топори.
Ты про Царукяна.
Да, я про Царукян.
Khabib even predicts Arman Tsarukyan has an 80-20 advantage over Ilia Topuria. He points to Arman's complete skill set, smart game planning, and the physical edge in size and strength as key factors that would make him the dominant fighter.
Выиграет он при этом за счет борьбы, правильно?
За счет ММА стиля.
Но,
Это не вольная борьба.
но будет проходить, да?
Арман может повалить, у него хорошие локти в партере. Очень хороший локти. Может бороться, разбаривать, спину забирать.
А вот в эту опасную дистанцию с Топори просто не зайдет. То, что
Не зайдет, слишком уже есть бои, он уже может посмотреть, изучить. Я например, 80-20 я вижу победителем Армана. Я считаю, что его борьба, его прессинг, его говорить, это тоже надо учитывать. Он выше него почти на 10 сантиметров, если не ошибаюсь. И он больше него весом, и в день боя он будет больше него. И, конечно, борьба, она всегда рулила. Да, особенно когда такие бои бывают.
On the other hand, Ilia Topuria isn't bothered by such statements, as he has currently shifted his mind to boxing and has been calling out Terence Crawford for a fight. He even challenged to put him to sleep in the first round. Ilia Topuria said, "I won't talk about what would happen between me and Crawford in an octagon. I'll talk about what would happen in a ring. I put him to sleep in the first contact." However, Terence Crawford has already dismissed talk of a boxing match with Ilia Topuria, stating he has no interest in the idea. He argues that Topuria shouldn't be compared to Conor McGregor, who was a global superstar, while Topuria is still far from reaching that level. Crawford admits he hasn't seen Topuria fight despite following MMA, and questions the financial value of such a matchup, stressing that there's simply no real demand for it.
Now that this has become a thing and you see the interest, do you have interest in fighting him?
For what?
Money.
Listen, what money would I get out of fighting him? Tell me how much I'm gonna get out of fighting him.
Well, I know
Please.
Floyd made a lot, obviously, to fight Conor.
He's not nowhere near on the level of Conor McGregor. Let's be real. Stop it. Don't ever compare him to Conor. Conor was here. He's here. Like I said, I don't know this guy. I never seen this guy fight. And I watch a lot of MMA, you know what I mean? Maybe, you know what I mean? I'm slipping. Maybe he's a good fighter, you know what I mean? I don't know. But I honestly never seen this guy fight, for sure. You know, and I've seen Conor McGregor fight a lot of times. Just saying.
Okay.
Him and Conor, like, it's night and day.
Michael Bisping also sides with Terence Crawford, agreeing that Ilia Topuria has not yet reached Conor McGregor's stature. He recognizes Topuria as a fast-rising UFC star with big potential, but stresses that McGregor's fame and worldwide influence were unmatched. Bisping adds that in his prime, McGregor was once in a generation figure, and it's hard to imagine anyone ever duplicating that.
So this all culminates with Terence Crawford, of course. He's doing the rounds, he's doing interviews, and he was asked about Ilia Topuria, and he was asked about the potential of fighting him, and he was like, why? For what? You know? And he was told, for money, by Ariel Helwani. He said, yeah, what about the money? He's like, well, there isn't any money. Yes, there's Conor McGregor who did that with Floyd Mayweather, but Ilia Topuria is nowhere near the level of a Conor McGregor. And to be honest, he's probably right. You know, listen, Ilia Topuria is phenomenal. He is a major star. He is potentially the biggest star in the UFC right now. But the level of fame that Conor McGregor had, and still has, or you could call it infamy, whatever you want, that level that he reached was insane. The world had seen nothing like it, okay? And back then in his prime, Conor McGregor, he was a one-off. I don't think there'll ever be another Conor McGregor.
However, Michael Bisping also admitted that a fight between Terence Crawford and Ilia Topuria, while not guaranteed, is still possible. He explained that it would draw massive attention from both boxing and MMA fans, making it a big money event. Bisping noted that Dana White has already worked with Crawford before, and with Topuria signed to the UFC, the matchup could realistically come together.
And of course, we're talking different parallels here. We're talking Terence Crawford, the best boxer of his generation. Okay, and we're talking Ilia Topuria, one of the hottest properties in all of mixed martial arts. So you never know. You never know. Maybe it does happen. But let's be honest, if it was to happen, it would make a lot of money. You know why? Because there would be two fan bases tuning in. And that's what happened with the money fight. Okay, you've got all the boxing fans, and then you've got all the MMA fans. And of course, you've got Dana White in the middle. Dana just did business with Terence Crawford. Ilia Topuria is under contract with the UFC. So it's not unbelievable to think of a world where this might happen. It's just, would they make this? Would Crawford lower himself? Would he want to do that? Would he want to step in the ring with somebody like that? You never know.
Michael Bisping further questioned whether Terence Crawford would even consider fighting Ilia Topuria, noting that Crawford already has plenty of boxing contenders lined up. Still, he pointed out that Topuria brings worldwide attention, UFC backing, and a huge fan base. Bisping admitted the matchup would be financially attractive and said he'd personally be curious to see it, highlighting how Topuria has always backed up his words with performances.
Would they make this? Would Crawford lower himself? Would he want to do that? Would he want to step in the ring with somebody like that? You never know, because what else is there out there for him, right? Yes, I'm sure there's some other fights. There's always the next guy on the block. There's always the next #1 contender. But why not take on this little Spanish Georgian that's chatting all this shit? Apparently has the weight of the UFC behind him and millions of fans all over the world. And if it is that easy, why not just collect the payday? So the question I'm asking you is, if there was any potential talk of Ilia Topuria taking on Terence Crawford, would you be interested in seeing it? I would. I think I would. I really do. And I'd be very, very curious. Because Ilia Topuria has laid it out every single time. He's walked the walk and he's talked the talk. He's backed it up every single time. Of course, this would be, you know, a stretch to imagine that he's going to go out and knock out Terence Crawford with the first contact that he makes, okay? That'd just be ridiculous.
Terence Crawford claims he didn't even know who Ilia Topuria was and has never seen him fight. He finds it surprising how talks about a potential matchup even started, stressing that he had no prior awareness of Topuria before the rumors surfaced.
To be honest, I never even seen this dude fight. I ain't even gonna lie. You know, I'm not worried about that guy at all. You know, it's crazy how, you know, things work, you know. I didn't even know who he was.
Shakur Stevenson also weighed in by saying he could picture Terence Crawford actually beating Ilia Topuria in MMA. He recalled seeing Crawford wrestle and believed that in a cage fight, Crawford could either knock Ilia out or submit him. Stevenson highlighted Crawford's size, reach, and grappling ability, adding that despite being known as a boxer, he wouldn't be shocked if Crawford controlled the fight in MMA.
I kind of seen a picture of Bud dapping him up before Bud was going to his workout or leaving his workout. I think them guys got to leave Bud alone. I think Bud Crawford is just different. In a boxing ring with him, bro, you're not going to last more than one round, I don't think. You better off saying UFC. Like, Bud is a guy that I wouldn't be surprised if he gets in the UFC and beat the shit out of some guys too, because he got a great wrestling background. I done seen him wrestle real wrestlers on some everyday shit, because Bud looked bigger than that guy. He got longer arms. I wouldn't be surprised come fight night if they do an MMA fight, if Bud done knocked him out sleep or choked him to death. I just wouldn't be surprised.
Wow.
Daniel Cormier explained that Ilia Topuria was winning the back and forth with Terence Crawford, and he admitted that at first he thought Crawford would simply ignore Ilia, but instead Crawford kept responding. Cormier noted that every time Crawford mentioned Ilia's name, it gave more attention and moved him closer to his goal. Daniel Cormier said, "Ilia wants to fight Crawford. Initially, I thought Bud Crawford will just no-sell Ilia Topuria, but Crawford isn't the one to ignore stuff. This saying Ilia ain't worth his time, but Ilia Topuria in this right now, guys, he's winning. He's winning because he is him talking about him. And every time Terence Crawford speaks Ilia's name, Ilia wins. That's another step closer to getting what he wants." Daniel Cormier added that Crawford shouldn't take the fight, but admitted he had underestimated Ilia Topuria in the past, and Ilia proved him wrong every time. He isn't sure if the matchup would ever happen, but he emphasized that each time their names are mentioned together, it benefits Ilia. Cormier pointed out that with Crawford lacking a clear next opponent, the attention only helped Topuria even more. Daniel Cormier added, "Now, should Crawford fight there? No. But I've doubted Ilia Topuria before, and he has exceeded everything I could have ever imagined inside the octagon. I don't know if this fight happens, but I'm telling you guys, every time we talk about it, every time they talk about each other's name, the better. Ilia is winning because Bud is no clear person who he's supposed to fight next." Chael Sonnen also reacted to Ilia Topuria's call-out of Terence Crawford and dismissed the fight as unrealistic. He questioned Topuria's claim about knocking Crawford out and criticized MMA fighters for constantly chasing boxing. Sonnen argued that if Topuria truly believed in it, he would have gone into boxing from the start, while praising Francis Ngannou for actually taking that risk.
Ilia Topuria could knock out Bud Crawford on first contact. Is there any truth to it? Why is it always the MMA guys gotta go box? It doesn't sell. James Toney and the UFC lost a whole bunch of money with him. If Ilia Topuria really could beat up Terence Crawford, why didn't he go into boxing? Ilia is our champion. After seeing Conor, who could not make an amateur Olympic team, go 30 minutes with Floyd, after seeing Francis Ngannou, who could not get a medal at the amateur, beat Tyson Fury according to one of the judges, I'll stand with Ilia. And how come it doesn't go the other way? And how come, if it's true, you didn't do it? Say whatever you want about Francis. Francis walked away from an active contract to pursue a dream that he believed to be true.
So, that's all we have from today's video, and hopefully you've enjoyed it. Share your thoughts about it in the comment section, and subscribe to our channel to get more updates about this highly anticipated encounter.